Alright, so picture this. You're scrolling through your feed, and you see a video pop up that looks straight out of a Hollywood action movie. There's this giant, old-school Sherman tank, the kind you'd expect to see rolling across Europe in a World War II documentary lined up in front of a shiny Tesla Model 3. And right there, behind the wheel of the tank, is a 98-year-old British war veteran, looking like he's about to settle a decades-long score. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, this is either a wild commercial or some kind of protest stunt. And you'd be right, it's both, in a way. So here's the setup. A group of activists in the UK, calling themselves Led by Donkeys, wanted to make a statement about Elon Musk and his political moves. Their idea? Crush a Tesla, Musk's pride and joy, with a literal tank. The symbolism is pretty clear even. The license plate on the Tesla reads, Fascism. They wanted to show, in the most dramatic way possible, that they're not fans of what Musk's been up to lately. But here's the twist. What was supposed to be a straightforward protest ended up turning into an unexpected showcase for just how tough Teslas really are. Now, before I get into what actually happened when Tank met Tesla, quick pause if you're into stories where tech, politics, and just plain weird events collide. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button or follow the channel. I've got a ton of these wild, real-life stories lined up, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, back to the main event. So the tank starts rolling. There's this slow, almost suspenseful moment as the treads climb up onto the Tesla's glass roof. You can hear the crunch, see the windows shatter, and for a second, it looks like the car's about to be turned into a pancake. But then, something unexpected happens. The tank keeps going, and the Tesla, well, it doesn't exactly fold like a cheap lawn chair. Sure, the glass roof is toast, the windows are gone. But when the dust settles and the tank rolls off, the lower half of the car is still there. The doors? Still on their hinges. The frame? Not totally mangled. People on the scene actually tried opening the doors, and they moved like you could actually get in and out if you wanted to. It's kinda wild when you think about it. I mean, we've all seen those crash test videos where cars get obliterated by way less than a tank. And yet, here's this Tesla, taking a hit from a piece of military hardware and still holding its shape. Now, just to be clear, they took out the battery before the stunt, so there was no risk of fire or anything like that. But even so, a lot of folks watching the video started asking, wait, if the battery had been in there, would it have survived too? And honestly, looking at the footage, it seems possible. The area where the battery would sit didn't get crushed the way you'd expect. It's almost like the car was built with some kind of superhero skeleton underneath. And that got people talking, not just Tesla fans, but regular folks who maybe never gave much thought to how these cars are built. Suddenly, the conversation shifted from Elon Musk is bad to dang, these cars are tough. It's like when you go to a baseball game expecting to see a big fight, but instead, you end up talking about how good the nachos are. The main event changes, and you walk away thinking about something totally different. If you have ever seen those old-school crash test commercials, like the ones with the slow-motion dummies flying around, you know how most cars just crumple when they hit something heavy. That's by design, of course. Modern cars are supposed to absorb impact to protect the people inside. But there's a difference between crumpling for safety and just getting flattened. What happened with the Tesla is more like watching a soda can get stepped on, but somehow the bottom half stays perfectly round. It's not what you expect, and it definitely makes you do a double take. What's even more interesting is that this isn't just a fluke. Teslas, especially the Model 3, have a pretty solid reputation when it comes to safety. They've scored top marks in all kinds of crash tests, including those gnarly side impact tests where a pole smashes right into the passenger door. The passenger compartment usually stays intact, which is exactly what you want if you're ever in a serious accident. But seeing it survive a tank? That's a whole different level. People online started joking that if you ever find yourself in a zombie apocalypse, maybe you want to be in a Tesla. But all jokes aside, it's actually kind of reassuring. I mean, most of us aren't worried about tanks rolling over our cars, but knowing your car can take a beating and still protect you. That's the kind of peace of mind you can't put a price on. It also makes you think about how far car safety has come. Back in the day, cars were basically metal boxes with wheels. If you got into a crash, you were on your own. Seatbelts were optional, airbags were science fiction and crumple zones. Forget about it. Fast forward to now, and you've got electric cars with reinforced frames, battery shields, and all kinds of smart engineering designed to keep you safe. The Tesla Model 3, for example, has this super strong underbody that's meant to protect the battery from all sorts of impacts, road debris, potholes, you name it. Turns out, it can also handle a tank, at least to some extent. And here's where it gets even more interesting. After the video went viral, people started asking, what if someone had actually been inside the car during the stunt? Now, obviously, nobody's suggesting you try this at home, but looking at the damage, it's not totally out of the question that someone in the lower part of the car might have walked away with just a wild story to tell. The passenger compartment didn't collapse, the doors still worked, and the overall shape of the car was recognizable. It is almost like the Tesla was built for a real-life game of will it survive? Of course, the protesters probably weren't expecting their anti-Musk message to turn into an accidental Tesla commercial. But that is the thing about live stunts. You never really know what is going to happen until you try. 1 minute, you're making a statement about politics. The next, you're showing off the kind of engineering that makes people rethink what they know about cars. And honestly, that's what makes this story so fascinating. It's not just about Elon Musk or political protests or even tanks. It's about how sometimes, when you set out to prove one thing, you end up discovering something completely different. In this case, a group trying to make a point about the dangers of unchecked power ended up highlighting the power of good design. Now, I know some folks will say, yeah, but it's just one car, one test, one weird situation. And that's true. But it's also a reminder that the stuff we use every day, our cars, our phones, our gadgets, is often way more advanced than we give it credit for. There are teams of engineers out there working on problems most of us never even think about, like how to make sure a car doesn't fold in half if something heavy lands on it. And every once in a while we get to see the results in the most unexpected ways. So, what's the takeaway here? Well, for starters, if you ever find yourself in a situation where a tank is about to roll over your car, maybe hope it's a Tesla. But more seriously, it's a cool reminder that innovation can show up in the strangest places. Whether you're into cars, tech, or just wild stories from around the world, there's always something new to learn, and sometimes the lesson is hiding right under a tank tread. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button or follow for more. I've got plenty more where this came from, stories about tech, unexpected moments, and the kind of real-life plot twists you just can't make up. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay curious.